For those of you suggesting out there that, Dan, Twitter, Apple, Amazon, Google, Twilio, and others, these are private companies. They can do whatever they want. Are they? It's not a First Amendment fight, Dan. This isn't a government entity shutting you down. You sure of that? Well, let's put that baby to rest as soon as possible. Let me just get to this Wall Street Journal article. It'll explain something right here. And maybe you'll understand, because this is the most important article you'll read today. The progressive purge begins. Tech stampede against the right will lead to more populist anger. Oh, that's absolutely true. You think you're helping the situation? But in this piece, and I want you to commit this to memory and tattoo this on your brain, there's a fascinating legal case to show that your idea of what government and non-government enterprises and actors are is far different than I think what happened here. Check this out. I want to read this to you, and I want you to commit all of this to memory if you can. Wall Street Journal today. In the case Marsh versus Alabama in 1946, the Supreme Court ruled that a privately owned town could not restrict the distribution of religious materials because the company was a de facto government. Tech firms that dominate the flow of information in the United States and censor it at the behest of powerful Democrats also deserve First Amendment scrutiny. The lockstep tech banning of Parler may also violate antitrust laws. Marsh versus Alabama. You may want to look that one up. If you're Apple, Google, or Amazon, you may have found yourself in a little bit of deeper water than you thought you were treading into. Well, Dan, Amazon, Apple, and you can't prove they're a de facto government. No, but I can prove to you one thing, that if you think this is a free market, oh, they're a private company argument, you're talking one to a libertarian here. You are insane. These companies are operating, specifically Twitter, Facebook, specifically, that are now mass purging conservatives. These companies are only in business because of a multi-billion, potential trillion-dollar subsidy sponsored by who? The United States government. What do you mean, Dan? This is all very confusing. My libertarian friends, who I appreciate, but my libertarian friends told me, no, they're free market companies. They can ban whoever they want. They're not free market companies. They are existing and they are in business because in an actual free market, without Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, government protections, these companies wouldn't exist. You making an argument they shouldn't exist? No, that's not the argument I'm making at all. The argument I'm making against you is this is not a free market because Section 230, follow me here, of the Communications Decency Act, which gives blanket legal immunity to Facebook and Twitter and doesn't allow you to sue them because they're acting as platforms, is the only reason they were allowed to flourish. Well, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that government subsidy, which is effectively a $1 trillion subsidy, which allowed them to flourish, would be fine and dandy if they didn't use the subsidy given to them by government taxpayers to then go attack government taxpayers who are conservative. They are only allowed to do this because they don't act as a publisher. If the New York Times, which falsely labeled in their photo, Richie McGinnis from the Daily Caller a rioter, and then tried to correct it later, can be held liable, which they can. And the New York Times published some of the stuff you see on Twitter right now. Hang Mike Pence, Reza Aslan's burn the whole effing thing down. If that appeared in the New York Times would be sued and probably be out of business. But it's allowed to appear on Twitter and Facebook because they've been given blanket immunity from lawsuits by you, the United States government you elected. This is not a free market argument. Well, Dan, it's a free market because we need that for the internet to operate, and it's been used fairly across the board. It has, really? So Parler's allowed? Parler's allowed to? Oh, no, that's right. Parler's been wiped off the internet. But I thought it was a free market, and Parler was protected by Section 232 because they're a platform just like Twitter. Really? Why are we not there and Twitter is? Violence, Dan. It's because violence appeared on the platform. Trending on Twitter this weekend was Hang Mike Pence. Antifa is still organizing their public destruction squads, Antifa groups on Twitter right now. The Iranian government is promoting genocide against Israel and Jewish folks right now on Twitter. Leftists on Facebook called the President of the United States a Russian stooge based on a PP tape. Those leftists were given Pulitzer Prize and are still on Facebook right now. But no, keep making the argument that it's a free market and that Section 230 is applied fairly when content, dramatically more content the liberals are claiming was used to take down Parler appears on the platforms they worship. Yeah, it's a free market. Don't worry. You understand Apple sent Parler an email? Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. We have the email. Apple sent Parler an email. Oh, they're going to have to answer for this one. Where they actually said in the email that we're responsible for all the content on our site. We are? Because that would make us a publisher. We have terms of service on Parler. We do not allow the incitement of violence, and we certainly don't allow criminality. There are other conditions too. You can read those terms of service. If you're uncomfortable with them, I understand. Parler's not for you. But we do have terms of service on Parler. And we do have a jury that removes content that does that. You understand that Apple sent us an email, though, telling us we're responsible for everything on our website? Well, of course, the liberals listening are like, well, of course you are responsible for. We are? Is YouTube responsible for everything written in the comments section on their website? No, I don't think they are. They say they're a platform. Oh, but Parler is. Apple was dumb enough to put this in an email, by the way. Is Twitter responsible for the hang Mike Pence tweets? Tens of thousands that appeared this weekend? Did Apple send them that email? Wait till the discovery phase of these legal cases come around. They're going to be fascinating. Is Google responsible for all the people who use email, Antifa and others, to email their Antifa friends to show up in Minneapolis and burn the city to the ground? No, only Parler is responsible, apparently, for that. So you want us to become a surveillance platform is what you want, to do your bidding. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
You just heard Dan Bongino.